Robert J. Conley here. Intuition, the starting point of all wealth. If you're an intuitive person, this might be the most important thing you ever hear about your gift. Now, intuition is not magic. Intuition is the ability to grasp something quickly. It's the ability to connect dots. It's the ability to put things in perspective. And intuition is an abstract thing. So it's hard for people who are not high in intuition to understand intuition. So my first advice to people is, if you are an intuitive person, stop trying to explain your intuition. Oh, by the way, I'm Robert J. Conley. I am educated in accounting. I had a productive 20-year commercial real estate career, and I am an expert on personality types and natural abilities. So here's what we see about intuition is, especially in the work environment, intuitive people spend a lot of time trying to explain their intuition rather than realizing that their intuition actually causes work, causes productivity, causes wealth. So I've cited the two extreme examples, high profile examples that we all know about, but don't necessarily look at through this lens. And that is Einstein and Jung. And both their great contributions were acts of intuition. And one of the ways that one of the reasons we call them great is that then their intuitive leaps have now caused, almost a century of work and of beneficial increases in human productivity and human understanding. And there are, at times I want to, there's a book called The Millionaire Next Door. And I've thought in terms of we should talk about the intuitive next door. Because when people are closest to us, it's hard to see their genius. When there's a great documentary on the band Kansas. If you're an intuitive and you're trying to understand your intuition, you need to find Miracles Out of Nowhere, a documentary about the band Kansas, because it really captures intuition in action and what it can do. So I got myself a little bit off of track because I'm an intuitive and I go all over the place. All right. So the third person I wanted to tell you about was a guy named, and I'm not 100% sure I'm going to say his first name correctly, but I believe it was Vannevar Bush. And in the mid 40s, after post-war, so late 40s, this gentleman wrote a document that mapped out the entire progression of the computer industry when computers were still mechanical calculating machines. And so he mapped it all out and could see it. And it was it was an act of intuition. And that then contributed to a massive amount of work being done to grow productivity and benefit humankind. So, when we look at intuition, it's, like I said, it's not magic, but it is the ability of estimates vary. It's somewhere between 20 to 30%. I think it's closer to 20% of our population that is what we would call dominant intuitives. And when you're a dominant intuitive, you can't turn it off. You're constantly making connections. And so, again, an illustration that it's not magic, but it's an ability to connect dots is one of my favorite examples. And again, forgive me for repeating myself, but lawnmower, tank, battle tank, and skis. What do you get from that? You get a snowmobile. So the tracks come from the tank, The skis obviously are the front end, and the lawnmower engine. It's not that simple anymore, but the lawnmower engine is the source of propulsion. And so that's an act of intuition. That's an act of invention. That's an act of putting things together that that almost everybody at first would have said, "What are you talking about?" So the mistake that many intuitives make is that they believe it's then their job to prove themselves right or wrong, and that's incorrect. That's wasted energy. The intuitive leap is then the intuitive person making such a statement is then in a position to say, world, it's your job to prove me right or wrong. And there will be people who take the side of right and people who take the side of wrong. And so it's not your, like I said, it's not your job to engage in that justification. It's your job to make the statements and to then create the space, create the place where the work and the debate take place to prove your intuition right or wrong. So one of the so here are 3 steps if you would like to just increase your I can't make a non-intuitive person intuitive, but I can help an intuitive person be more productive in their intuition. And a couple things that very simple things. Intuitives need to spend more time observing, not participating. It's in observing that your intuition can come to life. If you are purely in a performance mode, if you are at bat, swinging away at pitches, you are going to be putting yourself in reality time, not intuition time. And so if you're standing, if you're in the stands watching, you're observing, and that is where your intuition can start to take place. The next thing is take in more facts. Read facts, read biographies, read. And if you enjoy fantasy and science fiction, I'm not telling you not to read that, but you're actually probably not going to get as much intuitive energy as you would from taking in facts from all kinds of different fields. I mean, if you looked at my home library, you would either, if you knew about intuitives, you go, oh, this guy's intuitive, or if you didn't, you'd go, oh, what's going on here? Because it's from all over the place. And I knew this was going to happen. Sorry, phone call came in. I had forgotten to silence my phone. So it's in taking in facts that, and then the final step of putting yourself in a place where your intuition can blossom. And for me, it's gardening, it's hiking, it's being outside. Some of the greatest intuitive minds love to garden, and I can't explain why, but it's in that place that happens. But it's about putting your brain, taking an agenda off your brain and just letting your brain process, and intuitive things start coming out. And so, there are plenty of folks who love to proclaim that they're just the facts, and there's a rub between those people and intuitives. But when we start to see that just the facts people are a gift to the intuitives, because not every intuition is right. In fact, most are not. Most ideas aren't good ideas. Most, listen to professional stand-up comedians. Most of their jokes don't work. The highest caliber guys, 80% of their jokes don't work. And so, as an intuitive, look at just the facts, ma'am, people as a gift to you, and the just the facts folks start appreciating intuitives. So a final way to look at this is that just the facts folks see the trees very accurately and tend to miss the forest, and the intuitives see the forest pretty clearly and miss the individual trees. And when you can see how you can team up to make that work from both perspectives, you've now got some great energy. So that's my thought for the day. I'm Robert J. Conley, and go out and be your creative, intuitive selves. Take care.